In this video help, I'm going to be covering this video for the customer screen. Let's go ahead and go to the customer screen. The main thing you want to note in the customer screen that this is an individual record for the individual that is here. This is called the primary contact. In the primary contact, you're basically taking the person that is either a walk-in customer in this case, but you can also have customers that you want to capture their information either for advertising or emailing or just generally having information about that customer. This is something that, depending upon the type of business that you're running, it will make a difference in how you would take information for customers. In a POS environment or point of sale environment, there may be a situation where all you're going to do is do walk-in customers. But I suggest that you understand that if you have a customer that's using either a credit card or a check, and you want to be able to use their information as a backup for the check or credit card that you're using, especially for expensive items, you'll want to take the information for that particular customer. So for example, if I click through and I have an example, these are only example records. If I wanted to have Mr. Frank's data for him, I would go ahead and use the individual record and add his information, his address, city, state, and so forth. I would have his telephone number, I'd have his email address. Now there are a lot of customers that, depending on how you run your business, that you may even tell them for one reason or another that you would like to have their information to send them sale information and such. If you're doing that, you want to take the information and put it into this system. And then you'll see by the video that's going to show you on the list view how you have a list of all these customers. The data from these customers can be exported out to a file using either a CSV or an Excel file, so you can actually create a mailing list that can be used to send out emails to the customers in bulk. Now down at the bottom of the screen, this is basic information on the client, the primary customer, but there's also a place that if this is a business customer as well, that you can create a business information section and then add contacts that are in the company based on the actual requirements that you have. For example, if you want sales information or people that are authorized to use a company credit card at your location, you can put that information in here. Keep in mind that one of the things about this application is like a Swiss Army knife. There are many different kinds of things you can do and add, but if they're not required, say for example, you don't want a bottle opener, well, in this case, you want to put in the basic information for a client or use the walk-in client, but you may not necessarily use the company information unless you feel it's required. This application doesn't press you to do any specific thing, but if you use it properly, it will provide you with very valid information as far as managing your business. For example, let's start from the top down of the screen. The creation date. The creation date is an optional thing, like in the Swiss Army knife thing that I was talking about. And basically what you can do is you can date the actual client day that was added, and the current date is always going to be shown in the calendar as you open it up. So if I put that in there, it's going to add it to the top of the screen. If you need to go to the support site to get information as far as assistance and help, you click this icon, it'll open up the support site. There are a row of different buttons at the top of the screen. In this case, they may change as you're going between screens, but in this screen, the customer screen, you can go to the sales screen, the inventory screen, the purchase screen. And at the other side of the screen, there's an indicator of the different ID number. This is the parent record. So when I create a new record in this screen using the new record button, it will add the next revolving number to this up here. Now this is not editable, so you don't change it. And what it does is it's the linking ID number to the other information in the screen to the child screens. And this is a parent screen. As we're walking down through the things that are available in the screen, there's a list view screen that lists each individual client information in a short form, so you can do a find to find that information. There's also, of course, we're currently in the form view screen, which is this screen. And there's a hide and show menus button that hides and shows the menus from the top of the screen. In the case of the iPad, if you need to use all the real estate that's available on the screen, you can click this and it'll toggle back and forth between hide and showing the menus that are on the iPad screen. The buttons here will take you to the next record and previous record. The new record is added so you can add a new record for a new client. The find is where you use the find. You start the find by clicking on this, and for example, it'll put a magnifying glass in each one of the fields. In this case, if I put Ben in there that we just left that particular record, and I don't have to capitalize or anything, I just put it in. I don't have to put the last name, and then if I click the perform find, it will perform the find and it will give you the information for that particular person. Now, just be aware that when you go to the list view screen, if you, as I stated in the list view screen video help, the only records that will show in the list view will be the ones that you did in the current search. So if you did a find and this is the only record, then that will be the only one showing in that screen. So what you would want to do is either click the show all records to bring them all back, or you can go ahead and do another find on the list view if you want to. On the bottom corner, left-hand corner, there are, depending on the screen you're in, these will change to provide you with information for different reports and different screens. In this case, there's a calendar that allows you to put in information for your local company, where you're using your POS, to schedule either visits or client visits, or you can put store business things related to where you're supposed to be or other employees are supposed to be on a specific date. Maybe they're going to a meeting or something like that. You could put them into the calendar. And this is using Google Calendar to do that. So you have to create a basic Google Calendar for each user. Google Calendar does allow you to have multiple calendars, so you can do all kinds of special things. The best way to learn about Google Calendar is to actually use the help within the calendar. Before I actually show you all the tabs in this screen, I want to point out that there is a UDF screen, company information we already covered. There's a Google search and a Google Maps location screen. Depending on the device that you're using, for example, if you're on the cloud or using the iPad, the Google search and Google Maps, at the current situation, they will show, but there has been some issues with Google where on the cloud, on a browser, using it as a what they call a web object, there is some issues currently, and they will be cleared up in the near future. So it may or may not have an issue in the future. The issue that they're having is they're not displaying the correct information on the cloud. But if you're using the iPad, using FM Go, it will provide all the information, and these will all work properly. The UDF fields will be explained on the UDF screen, but you can add notes in this screen that will show up on the UDF screen. And these are related to either the company or the individual as a primary customer. Now keep in mind that if you have a customer from a business, that you can have multiple customer information screens, and the customer information that's provided with it will differentiate what company they actually work for. If it's with the same company, you just have the same company information that you would put into this screen, and you can put company comments. The Google search screen is kind of nice. What it does is it gives you the ability to search online to get information either about the company, for example, or you can view their actual website from here by putting in their web address. And since it's a Google search, it does have all these additional things here where you can actually do the calendar from here also. You can translate information and so forth that's supported by the Google screen. The Google Maps screen uses the new version of Google Maps that just came out in 2014. And from that screen, what you can do is you can just double click to zoom in to any location that you want to. Now on this particular version, on the web object, it does not give you the field, at least in this current version, to be able to access and type in an address and go directly to that address. You can use the Google Maps itself through this screen and go to either Google Maps on here and then type in the address. If you have any questions about how to use the maps, you can go ahead and link into here and then add the address that you want to go to, and it'll take you directly to that address. And like it says here, this is the new Google Maps but this particular one is an addition to it that allows you to view whatever you want to by just zooming in. Originally, this was set up so that it would use the address that you put up here in order to show the actual address down in this map. But under the 2014 version of the new Google Maps, you actually have to type in the directions. And if you're going to do additional stuff, for example, like expand the screen so you can see more area or reduce it, you would use the buttons within the screen. Now, make sure that when you're using this particular version or information in the screen that if you want additional help with Google Maps or Google Search, sign in, and then your account information, you can go ahead and save maps to Google Maps and have them available to you. And you can also get directions and save those directions. Now, one of the things you can do if you get directions from two directions, you can always go back to the UDF fields in this screen and either type in the directions or copy and paste them into these fields here. And what happens is if this overflows where there's more information in a field, as far as the actual input field, it will expand to show you all the information as far as the field is concerned. Now, I'm not going to cover the UDF fields in this screen. They'll be covered in a separate video, but I will cover just the bare details. There is a title field at the top and an input field at the bottom. You can have as many different fields as you want going down and 4 wide. And this is designed to allow you to put additional information that is not included in the fields that are provided, that you can do searches on or break out the information by the title field, which would be the header at the top, and then add the actual data that you want to save at the bottom. Using the button at the edge of the screen, you can access the portal records. Keep in mind that you have to have data present for the portal record to open. If they're blank like they're shown right here, it will not go to the portal because it doesn't have any relationship to that portal as now. The last thing I want to cover is that you can go back to the main menu from here and change screens. Anytime you see a underline on a header for a field, what that actually means is that it's a drop-down list. And in addition to that, if you click on the field in here, it'll either open another screen to edit the information and add it to the drop-downs. And the reason for that is that if you're using the iPad and they have scrollers, you can edit through these linked fields to another screen and create or edit the actual information that's in these drop-downs. Normally what happens in the iPad, you cannot modify a drop-down list, but this gives you the ability. So if you go to different screens and see an underline for a header, depending on where it's at in the screen, that means that there's a separate screen that'll allow you to edit the drop-down list. In this particular case, when you're moving between screens, you'll notice that it changes the store location. So for example, in this case, you can have multiple stores. You can have as many stores as you want in the screen that allows you to add this to the list. And also, as we'll get into later, on the inventory and on the purchase, you can select different store locations for the purchase, it would be the store that's making the orders. In sales, it would be for the person at the store that is actually conducting the sale. And in inventory, it would be the screen that has the inventory for that particular store. And they're actually separated, but yet you can still search on all of them based on the store where the location of the inventory item is, or where the sale was made, or where the purchase is made for that particular store. One of the main things about this application is it allows you to have multiple stores. And since this is up on the cloud where you can have a multi-user access, that means that all stores can see certain screens that are related to them, and also define what store information for what client or sales or inventory or purchases, where that information is provided from that store. We'll get further into the store locations later on in these videos. If you have any questions, as usual, you can go ahead and contact me through the support site, which is this icon right here.